today's show, we have David Crowder with us. David, thank you so much for taking time to sit down with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for including me. This is fantastic. Excited about this.
Well, I have to tell you, when we started this podcast, 2.5, 3 years ago, I can't remember, 3 years ago, Jacob?
3 years ago.
We had a spreadsheet of all the people we wanted to have on there. You're one of the last names to get highlighted, my friend. So this is a momentous occasion for us brothers.
I made the list. That makes me feel wonderful inside. I'm going to take that as affirmation. That's beautiful.
Wonderful. Well, we're here to talk about your upcoming album, The Exile. This is correct me if I'm wrong, this is part 2 of a trilogy that you have planned, right?
I always work in 3. So yes, it is. That's the short answer.
So this is your Empire Strikes Back.
This is what would this be? This would be actually, because this would be the fourth, the fifth album in this Crowder series of, so this is exactly Empire Strikes Back. And thematically, it's pretty much Empire Strikes Back. Yeah. Well done. My goodness. Can't believe I didn't see that. Learn something every day.
Just don't do any 90s Star Wars albums, okay? Because those movies are...
Well, that would have been... those are already done. It's too late. It started with Neon Steeple, if we think it back. A lot of CGI in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is during the It'll Cure What Ails You tour stage, right?
This would have been just post that. So Cure What Ails You. Right? I didn't even have an album. I just wanted to go play music. I don't even know what we had in our set list at that time. So yeah. So Neon Steeple was the first. That's what I was gonna say. Always working in 3s. Here's how it works. You sign a contract with the label, and I have always signed 3 record deals. And I figure if I'm, any contract you sign your name to, I'm thinking I should at least know what I want to do in those 3 albums. So I just have always thought in 3s as far as albums go. Yeah, makes sense to me. I'm committing to something. Makes sense. I should, but I need that kind of like boundaries, I guess you'd call them, to know what I'm shooting for. So the Neon Steeple, American Prodigal, I Know a Ghost. That was a legit trilogy, and it was Trinitarian thought that was going on. Mm-hmm. It had Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and so Neon Steeple pointing to something bigger, grander. The American Prodigal, Son, kind of a lot of more intimate language, and then I Know a Ghost. You're talking straight up Holy Spirit stuff right there. So this one is Promise, Exile, and Return. And so the Promise part was Milk and Honey, as you can see, the Promised Land kind of situation.
With the ring and the covenant ring on the front, right?
Baller, right? Just baller. Put your stamp down. But then now we're in the Exile moment, and we have the Return coming. And here's what happened. Exile and Return actually came at the same time. I had intentions to do the Empire Strikes Back, but Return of the Jedi happened on top of it. They got written at the same time. So I'm super excited. But I'll be writing something. I'll be like, yes, this is exactly the Exile. This goes in Exile. Writing another deal. I'm like, man, this song is great. I love it. But there's no way this doesn't go on the Exile. This is not the Exile. And this kept happening quite a bit, and I'm too dim to pick up on what was happening. The faucet was on, and all of a sudden I was like, these are all for the Return, these are all for the Exile. I'm a little slow on the uptake, so we kind of did 2 records at once. But I'm no Beyonce or Swift, so we're gonna wait for a second for the Exile to get out the door before we drop the Return. That's all insider stuff. You guys just,
if you were Beyonce, she just did a country album, so you would do like a whole rap album or something, right?
That would be appropriate. I got bars I could spit.
There you go.
I was thinking some like industrial polka, or mix it up with the tuba. Tubas aren't used enough, I don't think.
Or screamo album or something.
Tubers on a synth. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, David, we love your song "Grave Robber." Man,
I do too.
You should. You come out with these songs, and I'm like, dude, how does he do that? And so, tell us about that song.
Man, that was the first one that really come out the door. each record I'll try to have one song that I'll start with that kind of gives like the whole audio sonic landscape, so to speak. Like, here's what this record is going to feel like and sound like, and try to put it all in one song. And usually it's the most difficult to wrangle as far as production goes. And man, the Grave Robber deal popped out. One thing I've done of late in the last few years is start with titles. So I'll just have like a page in my notes that's just like titles. They go on and on. Some are horrible. I don't think they're horrible. I think they're brilliant. But, you'll sit in a room and you'll throw a title out like Grave Robber. And you look around, see if anybody's like, well, that sounds good. That was not a hit on the front end. It's like, it's illegal. You know what I mean? It's like, it sounds dark, whatever you're talking about. So some of them I had to explain a little bit more. But my favorite story in the Bible is Lazarus. I think, favorite might be hyperbole. I really like that story a lot because it's sane. And it's got some of the most human moments in it. The Jesus wept thing is happening right there. That shows how he can, he knows what he's about to do. And there's no need for anybody to be crying because he's about to do the unthinkable. And yet he identifies so deeply empathetic with us and our state as humans that it brings him to tears. That's just an incredible thought. The Son of God would be that human. But my favorite bit is Martha. Because Martha's like, she's this trip, man. So Jesus rolls into town and Martha's like, well, she immediately doing Martha stuff. Well, if you'd have just been here, this wouldn't have happened. Yeah. And I'm like, that's pretty baller to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Just come right up on him. But then she says something insane. She goes, but I know you can do anything. And then he does. And so for me, if you're following this guy that can call someone's name and after 4 days they come out of the grave, whatever you're up against right now, it feels insurmountable and it's just too much. You're on the guy's team that can speak death, life into something that seems impossibly dead. And so that to me is a beautiful thing to write about. If he can rob the grave, he can take whatever's in front of you right now. And so that's what that whole tune's trying to express. Yeah, and it sounds so. I mean, it's rough. It's aggressive. I couldn't believe that radio. I usually stay out of singles radio picks, and they're like, "Hey man, we want to go with this Grave Robber deal." I'm like, "Okay, all right. Rock and roll is back. I see." Dude. So yeah, so I'm thrilled that the first song to come out was that sonic expression that kind of defines the personality of the whole album, and so yeah, I couldn't be happier that was the first one out the door.
David, just a question about your writing process. What's your instrument of choice? Do you have do you like sitting down at the piano, or are you a guitar guy?
It used to be straight up acoustic. And a lot of times in the past I would, start the whole thing with a riff and then everything would kind of fold around a guitar riff. And that was early days. Now, usually if I'm in a room with people, I never even touch an instrument on the front end. It kind of to switch it up. I've typically tried to do things different along the way so that I keep growing. It's a dumb word to use, but I really feel like I need to keep getting better at what I do so that I can be more helpful. And right now I'm in a season where I just don't touch anything. It's kind of my rule. Like, nope, everybody else gets the instruments. And, then when we get to the recording process, that changes. But the writing process right now, it's just more about melody and lyric stuff that I'm kind of going for. I don't think in the last 2 or 3 records, I don't think I've started anything with a piano hook or a guitar riff line. Those have usually come after the fact, after we have melody and stuff together.
Yeah, it's funny how you say you do it because you want to help other people. And funny story about my history with you, David, is that when you're back in your Remedy days, you guys put out a bunch of videos on how to play the songs and how to play. I think it came with the album or something. I learned so much how to play instruments on those videos. So,
dude, that rocks.
Continue helping other people, man.
Man, that makes me feel wonderful inside. We were trying. I mean, part of that's just because our uptake of knowledge, we were very insular in the David Crowder band. We were just a church band trying to figure stuff out, and so there wasn't a lot to really. We didn't have a lot of things to watch and see and get to the bottom of how you do production side of things, because we were also very in-house with all of our production. And so man, as soon as we discover something new, it's like when you take a good bite of steak and you're like, oh my gosh, you got to try this steak, it's so good. Yeah. That's exactly how it feels when you stumble into some new plug-in or some new way to go about constructing a track. And so we were trying to get knowledge into people's hands. So I feel like that's what the steak analogy is pretty spot on in terms of how I view what I'm doing, even just in a theological sense. Hey, this is what's turning in me. Watch and see what he can do in your interior as well. So, yeah, I'm not the guy you'd call. I'm not the guy you'd call for on Wednesday for the church social to bring the mac and cheese. I can pull off some mac and cheese, but I'm not the guy you call for the food on Wednesday. But I can help with the music on Sunday. That's how I've always viewed it. Like bring what you're given to the community of saints, and keep your hands open, and he'll take out stuff and he'll put stuff in it.
Yeah.
Bring what you got.
Well, David, we want to ask you, we have a fan question that came in for you, and it's
Is that
Brandon.
my mom? It's my mom. Oh, nah. Okay. No. All right.
His name is Brandon, and he's from Pittsburgh, and he wants to know the story behind your song "Crushing Snakes."
Wow, that's a deep track. That might be one of my favorites that I've been a part of. The initial idea of the song came from Ed Cash's son. I was writing and working a lot with Ed Cash at the time, and his son had just been to this conference that I'm always a part of called Passion, and so it's a bunch of college students, and he'd gotten to go to it, and him and his buddy, after one of the sessions, they stayed up pretty much all night. And that initial thought of the Crushing Snakes came from him. He had like a melody idea, and Ed was like, "Bro, you gotta hear this song." And he played it, and I was like, "Dude, that could be sick." And so we just ran down the trail, and a lot of the initial thoughts come out of Psalms, but a lot of Revelation stuff in there too. It goes hard, but yeah, that's so cool. Started with Ed Cash's son, who's now the drummer in that We the Kingdom get together. But yeah, it was a fun journey.
Well, David, with first time guests, our listeners really enjoy getting to know our artist a little more, and so they give us suggestions on a segment called Favorite Things. And so we're going to ask you what your favorite thing in a certain category is, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us and our listeners.
Man, I'm going to nail this. I'm going to get them all right.
There we are. We'll start with, do you have a favorite food?
Yeah. It's hot Cheeto. Well, it's a kind of a combo, but this is my go-to snack all times. The fiery Cheeto with the best made dill pickle slice. That's just a combo that gets me through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He says
what is your favorite movie?
Bizarrely, it's Return of the Jedi. It's either that or Rocky 3.
Okay.
And if it's not that, it's Rocky 4.
Do you have a favorite musical artist of all time?
No, I do not. That's solid answer. That is the truth.
Hey, that's fine.
That's the truth.
Is there someone that you would love to sing with, like a dream duet?
Ooh, absolutely. And I did. Emmylou Harris was like, it was the deal. I mean, she still is the deal. But and I got to, and it was awesome. Yes, it was amazing. She was the sweetest human. Emmylou Harris, her voice just slays me. It's great.
Do you have a favorite ice cream flavor?
Yeah, vanilla.
All right. Yeah.
Don't know why that was funny to me.
So much.
It could be, yeah. There's so many choices, and I'm like straight up vanilla, man. Like, well, I remember it's because growing up, my mom made the best homemade vanilla ice cream, and it's just like, it was the best. And I ruined it one 4th of July. My dad trusted me to be the watcher of the ice cream machine. You know, I don't know if you know the ones that have a bucket, ice is around the deal. It's turning, got the motor, it's turning. Just the sound of that, I can taste it now. Well. My dad was like, hey, you got to put the salt in it for the ice, the temperature melting of the ice, so it gets colder quicker if you put the salt around the ice. And I didn't understand as a kid. I'm like probably 8 at this point. I don't trust an 8-year-old. But again, don't ask me to bring the food for the socials on Wednesdays. But my dad's like, did you remember to put the ice in it? I'm like, I forgot. I mean, the salt in it? I forgot. What'd I do? Open that thing up and poured the rock salt into the ice cream mixture, and ruined 4th of July party for all of the kids and all the adults. It was terrible. I remember trying to eat it. So I don't like salty vanilla. I like straight up vanilla.
Just regular.
No salt in mine.
Just regular.
Yeah. It's a good story.
David,
good story.
Do you have a favorite Bible verse?
I've mentioned it already. Jesus wept. However, one thing I'll do is kind of cruel. It's not that kind. I should be more helpful. When people ask me to sign, they'll be like, hey, give your life verse or something. I'll always write Luke 24:42, and it says he gave them a piece of broiled fish. That one also is up there. That's one of my favorites.
They're all going home and like, what's this cryptic message from Dad? I wonder what this means.
Yeah. It means Jesus is like fish. I think that's great. I think it's great.
Well, David, we got your album. This will be releasing next week, so it'll be out this Friday. So what else is next for you, and how can our viewers and listeners keep up with you?
Well, we got summer festivals coming up. Fairs and festivals are my favorite season of I wouldn't call it touring because you're just going all over the place. So there's not a lot of sleep involved. But corn dogs are readily available. I love me a good corn dog. So I'm going to be eating corn dogs over the summertime. And then we're headed out with the Mercy Me guys. And then we've got Passion Band going out and We the Kingdom. I don't know who all's on that. It's got an Air One kind of outdoor situation coming up in the fall. So I'm pumped. It's going to be a fun season.
Yeah.
Hope to see you out there. Well, David, to wrap up, we'd like to see if you'd be willing to share something that God's been doing in your life, maybe even recently, that could help build our viewers and listeners' faith up.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you today, my day started in the yard. My wife was like, hey, you know that motorized sound that we hear? We can't figure out. There's a sound of a motor turning on somewhere in our house, and now we figured out, no, it's outside. We can't find it. But it's pumping water into our lawn, and we don't know where the water's coming from or where this motor is. And so I started the day in the muck, and as I'm doing it, I'm thinking about talking to you guys. We've got some stuff coming up. I'm talking about what's going on with the Exile deal, what's similar things to what our discussions have been. I got a few more conversations like this, and as I'm trying to find this deal, I'm sloshing around, and immediately this picture of when I first started out helping with this church plant in Waco, Texas. The pastor who talked me into the thing, he was like, hey, Crowder, would you help me with this church start? I would love for you to organize the music. I wasn't going to lead at the time, but just like be the music director. I want you to help. And I'm like, that's a terrible idea. And I'd been burned by the church. I'm like, I don't want to get back involved in church stuff. And he goes, no, you're the perfect person for it. And I go, I just don't want to do it. He goes, why? So I told him a bunch of my church baggage I had that I was bringing to the thing. And I was like, he'll just say this is a bad idea. And he goes, man, at the time he was pastoring outside of Waco, Texas. It's this little tiny church in the country. And he said, the other night I get a phone call from one of the parishioners or congregants. And he's like, Pastor, we need you. We need you. You got to get out here. We need you to pray. And so he gets out there to the house. And the thing is, he got a sick cow, and he wants the pastor to come pray for this, lay hands on the cow, pray for the cow. He says it's all raining and muddy, so he jumps in the pen. He's trying to chase this cow down and hold on to it long enough to get a prayer out. And he's just in the muck. He goes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get down in the muck, in the mire, with the people that need you there. And man, that whole image just came back to me this morning of man, I've got friends that are going through some really tough stuff, and I just need to get in the muck with them and let them know I'm there as useful or as unuseful as I might feel it being. I don't know how Pastor felt about his prayer, if it took or not, but to be there was the thing that was needed more than anything. So that's what hit me this morning.
Well, Crowder, thanks so much, man, for chatting with us. The Exile will be out everywhere this Friday, May 31st. Is this going to be on vinyl?
It is. The printer's a little backed up. We've got a number of things we're trying to get out the door with vinyl.
Sure.
Man, I guess whoever we're using, a lot of people want the vinyl these days. So
yeah.
it might not be on a street date, but it's coming. It's in line at the press.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
And it's going to be a beautiful orange. It's going to be beautiful orange, bright orange vinyl. Yeah, we're going colored.
Nice.
Yeah. Pantone. Nice. I don't know what it is. Something.
Whatever that one is.
Yeah.